Word up, YouTube. Back. DW Blue Videos is back with another video, and I want to say thank you to a few more of my subscribers that I had received. Very awesome. There's my gravity bike. That bike is all done. There's nothing else being done to that bike. She's good to go. That is going to be one of my Tour Detroit bikes to ride. I took that thing out for a ride on one of our recent warm days that we had, and it rode absolutely phenomenal. It feels like a very nice riding bike now. I have no complaints now. The drivetrain's solid. Everything on this bike now is absolutely solid. So this is going to be the last one for that. Over here, there's my giant Talon 3. And that one is also a 24 gear 8-speed mountain bike with hydraulic disc brakes, SR Sun Tour something or other fork, I think that's on it. It's got an SR Sun Tour crank. I've got a couple of upgrades on this, just the grips mainly, the water bottle cages. Other than that, I haven't done anything more to that bike. I have only ridden it a handful of times, and it's been fantastic. Fantastic bike, as all Giants typically are. Now over to my new one. There's my Giant Defy Advanced 3. This bike here is my road bike. This bike here has got a set of Continental Grand Prix 4 Seasons. I've got the bottle cages by Giant, and I've got the Giant saddlebag. Don't mind my mess of junk behind it. I'm just using the thing to prop the bike up. This bike here is a 10 speed, so it's 20 gears. It's got 20 speeds, or so 10 gears on the back. It is Tiagra. I put clipless pedals on this as well, which I've had a chance to ride this, and this thing rides absolutely awesome. In the world of bikes, that right there probably rides like a full-size car. That right there probably rides like a Porsche. One thing I do want to address with these carbon frames, if you're going to own one of these bikes, especially an all carbon frame bike, get yourself a tool like this, or a torque wrench with Newton meter ratings. This is a Park Tool ADT 1.2. It does, it's got a couple of bits that came with it. Those bits are right here in the end of this thing. As you can see, I'm doing it. There's the bits. On the other end of this tool, here's your torque settings. Right now this one's set at 5.5. It goes from 4 Newton meters and half a Newton meter increments from 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and 6. If you're going to own a carbon bike like that, get this tool. You'll be glad you did. And the reason why I say that is because, being it's carbon, it doesn't have a little bit of that give and what's it called? Room for error like aluminum will give you. One thing I want to address, especially on this Giant Defy, I did some research online. I couldn't find anything about this because no one really had a solid answer for me. They talked about creaking in the seat post here. Well, I wasn't getting creaking in the post. I was getting creaking when I tightened this down. Now I went back over some of the bolts and checked the specifications, like here on the stem and here on the handlebars, and this one was not quite at nowhere near 6 Newton meters, and I thought the seat post was moving on it. So what I did is I used that tool, that Park tool there, and tried tightening it down. Well, every time I would tighten it to get it to the specification of I went to actually 5.5 Newton meters the first time, and there was clicking, like a snapping sound going on in here. And I'm thinking to myself, oh crap, I might have messed up the frame, or I messed up the post. Well, I went ahead and did a little research on it, and there are other people that were talking about this issue with creaking. Okay, All right, so here's my fix. Loosen this bolt. Get your seat post out of here. Loosen this a little more. This whole mechanism right here, you can wiggle it and get it right on out of here. You pull it out. You're going to have 3 wedges. You have a bottom, the middle, and the top. What you want to do is clean the mating surfaces between the wedges. Okay? Now what I used to clean them was this stuff right here. This clean streak. I just put it on a shop towel and I wipe the mating surfaces of the wedges where they touch each other. Nowhere else, just them areas where they touch. Then I went back over and put a little bit of this on the mating surfaces of the wedges where they mate to each other. And this is that fluorinated PFPE grease by Finish Line. Now you don't need a lot of this stuff. What you need to do is coat it. Make sure I just use once I put it on there with the injector, I just use my finger, wipe it on the mating surfaces that I cleaned. And what I did then is I put it together by hand and then squeezed them together, wiped off any excess. Once that was good, I put a little grease on the threads of the screw, on the washer, and on the bottom of the washer, on the top of the washer, or on the bottom of the head of the screw right here. This screw right in here. Right there. Then, after I did that, I threaded it back in by hand, and then I stuffed it back in here. Now it just comes out. It's not much that holds it in there, but it just comes out. So I put it back in there, got it situated back in its location right here in the frame, and then I put the seat post back in. Now you have to work with the bolt a little bit in the seat post, try to get it to where it's nice and straight so you can drop the seat post back in. Once you get the seat post back in, then you go ahead and set your height, and then you tighten this back down. Now I tighten that back down to 5 or 5.5 Newton meters. I want to say it was 5. 5 Newton meters because it says right here max 6 Newton meters. So I figure, well, I'll keep it 1 Newton meter under its max torque. Now once I did that, no more creaking out of that thing at all. None. No snapping, no creaking, no nothing. It took care of it. So it fixed it all up. And then after that, the next creak I got, which was coming from the seat, and it's mounting down here. Same scenario. Go ahead, undo this screw down, undo this one here, unscrew all that, get it all apart, clean the bottom and the tops of where the rails are, clean the rails, use that same injector stuff, that fluoro PFPE stuff or whatever it is, and then put a little on here on the top and on the bottom on each side of that, and then go ahead and recenter your seat or however you had it, redo it, and then set your level, reset your seat, tighten it down, and then you're done. That is it. That takes care of any and all creaks so far. I have no problem now. I can get on this bike, I can sit on it, and there's absolutely no creaks, no noise coming from this or this area anymore at all when tightening this down or anything. So I wanted to share that little tip with you guys about fixing that creaking with tightening that seat post attachment clamping mechanism they use. Other than that, everything with the bike has been fantastic. I absolutely love my Giant Defy. No complaints, no arguments with that at all. So anyways, YouTube, appreciate it. And I hope you found, if you own a Giant Defy, or maybe one of their TCRs or whatever other models that have that defuse seat post clamp in their bike, and you're experiencing that same problem that I'm having, try that modification. Well, try that adjustment first by cleaning it, reapplying some of that Teflon based stuff on between the wedges, the mating surfaces of the wedges where they meet each other. Once you get all that cleaned up, reinsert it and get it all back together, and you should have, and after you've even threaded the threads of the bolt and then tighten it down, that should take care of that problem. But yeah, other than that, YouTube, that's it from me. I hope those tips, that little tip worked out for you. And well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, peace.